3.8 billion euros in fines, 6 manufacturers, 14 years of collusion. Every truck on every European road cost more because of what 6 executives decided in a hotel room. They called their secret meetings social events. They coordinated price hikes through emails and phone calls. They thought nobody would ever find out. This is the story of the dumbest cartel in European history. January 17, 1997, a hotel room in Brussels. Senior executives from 6 of the largest truck manufacturers on the planet sat down together. MAN, Daimler, Volvo Renault, DAF, Iveco, Scania. Between them, they built 9 out of every 10 medium and heavy trucks sold in Europe. 30 million trucks on European roads. 3/4 of all inland goods transport on the continent moves by truck. Food to supermarkets, medicine to hospitals, construction materials to building sites. These 6 companies controlled the price of moving virtually everything across the entire European economy. And on that January morning, they decided to stop competing. The scheme was brutally simple. They coordinated gross list prices, the factory gate figures that form the basis for every truck sale negotiation. When one manufacturer planned to raise prices, they told the others first. Then they all raised prices together. Nobody undercut anyone. Nobody offered a better deal. The illusion of 6 competing brands remained perfectly intact, while the prices moved in lockstep behind closed doors. But it gets worse. When European emissions standards tightened, requiring cleaner engines, the 6 companies agreed in advance exactly how much extra to charge customers for the technology. Euro 3, Euro 4, Euro 5, Euro 6. Every single environmental improvement that was supposed to make European trucks greener became a coordinated surcharge passed to buyers at the same time for the same amount. Instead of competing to build better engines at lower cost, they turned environmental regulation into a cash extraction machine. Customers thought they were paying for progress. They were paying for collusion. But here is where it gets really embarrassing. They did not even try to hide it properly. For the first 7 years, these were face-to-face meetings at the senior management level. Executives from all 6 companies sitting in hotel rooms, sometimes at the edges of the IAA in Frankfurt, the biggest truck industry showcase in Europe. They shook hands for the cameras at public events celebrating competition and innovation. Then they slipped into private rooms to fix prices on 4.8 million trucks. After 2004, the coordination shifted to the company's German subsidiaries. Phone calls became emails. They shared truck configurator files, the actual sales software used to price vehicles for customers. They swapped delivery time data so nobody could undercut anyone else. They exchanged gross list price increases before announcing them publicly, so every company could adjust in perfect unison. And they put it all in writing for 7 more years. But the people paying those inflated prices had absolutely no idea. Transport companies ordering new fleets, logistics firms replacing aging vehicles, construction outfits buying heavy machinery, municipalities purchasing garbage trucks and fire engines with taxpayer money. Over 1,000 German and Austrian municipalities alone bought more than 20,000 trucks during the cartel period. Every single one of those vehicles cost more than it should have. The estimated overcharge per truck ranged from 360 euros to 8,400 euros depending on the model and year. For a small family-run haulage business with 10 trucks, that meant tens of thousands in hidden costs that went straight to manufacturer profits. Multiply that across 4.8 million vehicles, and the total damage to European buyers lands somewhere between 1.8 billion and 43 billion euros. That is not a typo. And remember, these are conservative estimates based on what investigators could prove. If you are enjoying watching these companies dig their own grave, hit subscribe. I cover a new corporate disaster every week. So the cartel ran for 14 years, but one of the founding members decided to betray everyone else to save themselves. And the way they did it was almost as ruthless as the conspiracy itself. On September 20th, 2010, MAN picked up the phone and called the European Commission. They filed a formal leniency application, confessing everything. The hotel meetings, the trade fair conversations, the price coordination, the emission surcharge agreements, the configurator file exchanges, all 14 years. MAN, one of the 6 companies that started this conspiracy in 1997, sold out every single partner at that table to avoid a 1.2 billion euro fine. Under the Commission's leniency program, the first company to confess gets full immunity. MAN made sure they were first. They paid 0. Their co-conspirators would pay billions. Within months, Commission investigators were ready. In January 2011, dawn raid teams deployed across Europe simultaneously, carrying laptops already loaded with MAN's leniency confession. They showed up unannounced at truck manufacturer headquarters in Munich, Stuttgart, Turin, Eindhoven, Gothenburg and Södertälje. 6 countries, 6 raids on the same morning. Forensic IT teams brought portable imaging stations and write blockers to copy hard drives without altering a single byte of data. They recovered incriminating emails, chat logs from German subsidiaries, and the actual pricing software files the companies had used to coordinate. The companies could not refuse entry. They could not delete evidence. They could not even close a door without permission. Breaking a commission seal carries its own fine of up to 38 million euros. But Scania made a decision that would haunt them for nearly a decade. While the other 5 companies eventually cooperated, admitted guilt, and settled with the Commission for 10% fine reductions, Scania refused. They withdrew from settlement talks entirely. They hired expensive legal teams. And they dared Brussels to prove the case without their cooperation. On July 19, 2016, Commissioner Margrethe Vestager stood at the podium in Brussels and announced the largest cartel fine in European Commission history, her voice carrying the weight of a 14-year investigation. 2.93 billion euros. Daimler paid 1.008 billion. DAF paid 752 million. Volvo Renault paid 670 million. Iveco paid 494 million. MAN, the whistleblower who started the whole conspiracy, paid absolutely nothing. A founding member of the cartel walked away completely free while everyone else got hammered. Vestager said it plainly. It is not acceptable that these companies, which together account for around 9 out of every 10 medium and heavy trucks produced in Europe, were part of a cartel instead of competing with each other. But Scania still refused to accept the verdict. In September 2017, the Commission hit them with a separate 880 million euro fine. Scania immediately appealed to the General Court. They argued the Commission had it wrong. They claimed the evidence was insufficient. They challenged every aspect of the procedure. In February 2022, the General Court dismissed every single argument. Scania then appealed to the European Court of Justice. On February 1, 2024, that appeal was also dismissed in its entirety. 7 years of legal battles, 2 courts, every argument rejected. The companies that settled had their penalties reduced for cooperation. Scania got nothing but legal bills and a decade of reputational damage on top of the original fine. And the fines were not even the real punishment, because once the infringement decision became legally binding, it triggered a wave of private damages claims across Europe that now dwarfs the original penalties. The Road Haulage Association in the UK filed a collective action covering over 600,000 trucks, each representing a customer who had unknowingly paid a cartel premium. Deutsche Bahn filed for hundreds of millions in overcharges on their vehicle fleets. Claims erupted in the Netherlands, Spain and Germany. Litigation funders estimate total exposure for the truck manufacturers across all European claims could reach 100 billion euros. Those lawsuits are still going in 2026. Nobody has reached a global settlement. 6 companies controlled 90% of the European truck market. They fixed prices for 14 years. They met in hotel rooms and exchanged emails and shared pricing software and coordinated surcharges across 6 emission standards. They overcharged governments, small businesses and independent operators who never had a clue. One founding member confessed and walked away completely free. Another spent 7 years fighting through 2 courts and lost every single time. The total fines exceeded 3.8 billion euros. The total damages exposure could multiply that figure 30 times over. That was 3.8 billion in fines for fixing the price of trucks. The next company I am covering rigged something even more fundamental than transport. They manipulated the price of money itself, and they literally named their group chat the cartel.